It is a challenge to succeed. If it were not, I'm sure more people would be successful. But for every person who is enjoying the fruit from the tree of success, 1,000 are examining the roots. They're trying to figure it all out. They're mystified and perplexed by what seems to be some strange, complex, and elusive secret that must be found if ever success is to be enjoyed. While most people spend most of their lives struggling to earn a living, a much smaller number seem to have everything going their way. Instead of just earning a living, the smaller group is busily engaged in designing and enjoying a fortune. Everything just seems to work out for them, while the much larger group sits in awe at how life can be so unfair, complicated, and unjust. I'm a nice person, the man says to himself. How come this other guy is happy and prosperous, and I'm always struggling? He asks himself, I'm a good husband, a good father, and a good worker. How come nothing seems to work out for me? Life just isn't fair. I'm even smarter and willing to work harder than some of these other people who just seem to have everything going their way, he says, as he slumps into the sofa to watch another evening of television. But you see, you've got to be more than a good person and a good worker. You've got to become a good planner and a good dreamer. You've got to see the future finished in advance. You've got to put in the long hours and put up with the setbacks and the disappointments. You've got to learn to enjoy the process of disciplines and of putting yourself through the paces of doing the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. You've got to be prepared and willing to attack the challenges if you want the success, because challenges are part of success. Now, that may sound like a full menu of activities, but let me assure you that the process of going from average to fortune isn't really all that difficult. Thinking about it is the difficult part. Anticipating all the effort and the changes and the disciplines is far worse in the mind than in reality. I can promise you that the challenges you'll meet on the road to success are far less difficult to deal with than the struggles and the disappointments that come from being average. Confronting and overcoming challenges is an exhilarating experience. It does something to feed the soul and the mind. It makes you more than you were before. It strengthens the mental muscles and enables you to become better prepared for the next challenge. Now let's assume that you are one of those who is willing to tackle the challenges, that you really do want to know about the process for going from average to fortune, and that you're determined to make the journey so that you can experience the rewards. What do you do? Where do you start? What are the changes you have to make and the disciplines you'll have to master? These are the questions I often hear from those who want to do well, but aren't. And it is in response to the many inquiries I receive from those who want to enjoy the good life that I have taken the time to prepare this library of ideas and insights that we now call the Challenge to Succeed. Actually, I didn't really prepare this program that you're about to listen to. It evolved. It is a volume of the very best concepts that I've managed to assemble over the years as I've traveled the world teaching ideas that count to people who care. It isn't a complex, mystical technique that will require you to undergo some strange form of mental transformation. It is merely a set of basic principles that will get you started on a journey that can be life-changing. I've learned over the years that about a half dozen things makes about 80% of the difference in how your life turns out. And this program will address those simple but necessary basics that will start for you what I like to call the miracle process. All you've got to do is listen and absorb the ideas that I'll share with you. Then, once you've got the ideas, your new appetite for success and your new confidence in yourself will start you on that unique journey. It's a journey that will lead you along paths that you've always wanted to travel but could never find, amid the maze of highways filled to capacity by those who are hopelessly lost and confused. The hours that we'll spend together examining these special insights will start a whole new process for you. And if you will start applying the ideas we'll share, I can promise you that your life will never be the same again. You don't ever have to remain how and what you are after today, except by your own choice. The seeds of high achievement are about to be placed in the soil of your mind. Then, with the magic of your own activity, the practice of these basic ideas will start the growing process. Soon you'll enjoy the full harvest of rewards that comes from applying these simple basics. The challenges to success will go into full retreat as you begin to see just how simple success really is, and you'll be fascinated by the results you'll soon begin to enjoy. I want to congratulate you for making this investment in yourself. We live in an age when so many tend to spend more money on the outside of their head than they do on the inside. That usually leads to tragic consequences, with our lives slipping by without any real or lasting progress being made. To have more, we must first become more. And to become more, we must begin the process of working harder on ourselves than we do anything else. Here's one of the more valuable discoveries I've made on the subject of going from average to fortune. The achievement of success is found not just in the gathering of new knowledge, the acquisition of new skills, or in the accumulation of new experiences. It is also in the discovery of new emotions. It's how we feel about what we know that makes the biggest difference in how our lives turn out. How we feel about the chances we have and the choices we have determines the intensity of our effort, whether we try or don't try, join or don't join, believe or don't believe. So as you listen to the information in the Challenge to Succeed seminar, I'd like for you to discover some strong feelings about your life and about what you want to do with that life. You probably have much of the knowledge and a lot of the experience and perhaps most of the skills that it takes to become successful. What you may be lacking in are the strong feelings about what you want and what you want to do. You may be one of those who have become so involved in the process of earning a living that you've forgotten about the choices and the chances you have for designing your own life. So let the message that follows touch you. Let it help you discover the feelings that will make you take a second look at your life and where you're headed. After all, you've only got one life, at least on this planet, so why not make it an adventure in achievement? Why not discover what all you can do and what all you can have? Why not discover how many others you can help, and in the process, how that will help you? Now let's get started on a journey of ideas and insights that might very well be life-changing for you. Let's take a close look at the Challenge to Succeed and at what that might mean to your better future. Anyway, pleasure for me to be here. How many of you have never seen me before? Is this your first time? Oh, well, most of you. Okay. I keep thinking I'm more famous than that, but I guess that is the truth. Anyway, nice to see all of you. It's going to be a good day today. We're going to take a couple of breaks along the way so you don't have to sit all the way through without stopping here. Somebody once said the mind can only absorb what the seat can endure. And I think that's true. So we won't make you endure too long before we take a little stretch break here. Do we have any teenagers? We invited the kids to come. Where are you? Teenagers or younger? Or... All right, let's give them a hand. Welcome. Nice to see all of you. My favorite audience. I got a good story for you. Two little boys in school. One was very bright. The other one wasn't very bright. Teacher gave a test one day, 10 questions. And she's looking at the two papers. And to her surprise, the little boy who was not very bright had answered 9 of the 10 questions perfect. And she thought, well, that can't be right. So she looked at the other paper, the little boy who was very bright. He had answered 9 of the 10 questions perfect. And the teacher thought, hey, something is wrong here. Sure enough, the problem was the answers to the 10th question. The little boy who was very bright got to the 10th question, and he didn't know the answer, and he was running out of time. So he just wrote down, I don't know the answer to this one, turned his paper in. Teacher looked at the other paper, the little boy who wasn't too bright, and he answered the 10th question, I don't know either, and turned his in. which I guess means don't cheat, right? It never seems to work out well. Anyway, we're going to get started here. This is a work session, okay? I have not come to entertain you, as you can tell by my opening joke here. I wouldn't make it in Las Vegas, so no dog and pony show here today, but I've got some serious ideas to share with you, and I want to get right to it. But just very briefly, for you that are here for the first time, I grew up in Idaho, a little small village in the southwest corner of Idaho. My father still lives in this little farm community where I grew up on the old homestead, and he'll be 90 his next birthday, and he still hasn't retired. I'm trying to get him to retire this year. I'm saying, hey, Papa, age 89, what a great year to retire. And he's still saying, hey, talk to me in 10 years, right? I may be ready. He's amazing. But anyway, I went to high school, graduated, went to college one year. Halfway through my second year, I decided I was smart enough, so I quit. A major mistake on my part. I should have stayed in school, but I thought, heck, I'm smart enough to get a job. And at the time, I thought, that's about all the smarter you need to be, right? Smart enough to get a job. So, age 19, I quit school, went to work, and, my parents taught me to work hard, so that was no problem. And, if you work hard and keep your fingers crossed, stay out of trouble, and pay your bills on time and do your best, hope for the future, that's about it. And I proceeded to go do that. A little while later, I met a beautiful young lady, put probably my finest sales presentation on her. I promised her wealth and fame and fortune and world travel for starters. I said it would probably be your life's finest decision to marry me. And she bought the whole story. Fortunately for me, she did. So we got married. And now I've got my little family started pretty soon, and out there doing the best I thought I could. But year by year, I'm falling a little further behind, purchasing a little more than I can conveniently pay for on time. And about age 25, I am now really in the hole, right? Creditors are starting to call saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail, and I'm dancing around on that. I got pennies in my pocket. I got nothing in the bank. And I'm wondering, where do I go from here? I'm a nice guy, and I love my family, and I'm certainly willing to work hard, but I was just not making progress. And I thought, well, maybe I should go back to school. 1 year of college, right, is a little short on an application. But with a family, right, tough decision to make to go back to school when you got your family started. So, hey, the best time to stay in school, right, is when you're there. That going back usually doesn't work. So I sort of discounted that. Then I thought, if I had my own business, that would really do it. But, I didn't have the money. Too much month at the end of the money. That's where I was, right, age 25. So in this quandary of wondering, what could I do to make my life better? Willing to work hard, but hadn't found the answers. Then good fortune came my way. And gosh, who can explain sometimes good fortune, why something remarkable happens to you at a particular time? I don't know. I'm an amateur on life, I guess, like most of us. One of my friends says, however, things don't just happen. Things happen just. And maybe that's it, I don't know. But my good fortune was, when I was 25 years old, I met a very rich, wealthy man. His name was Mr. Schoaf, Mr. Earl Schoaf. A friend of mine had gone to work for him. And he started telling me about this man. He said, you got to meet this man I've gone to work for. He's rich, but he's easy to talk to. He's got a unique philosophy of life. And he kept going on, and I thought, well, gosh, I've got to meet this man. So shortly after that, I had a chance to meet this Mr. Schoaf, and I was impressed. He was rich, and he was easy to talk to. Within a few minutes, I was dazzled. I thought to myself, I'd give anything if I could be like him. What would it take to be rich and easy to talk to, have a unique philosophy of life? And then I thought, if I could just get around somebody like him, if he'd teach me, coach me, I'd learn it all, I'd do it all. And that was my good fortune. A few months later, this wealthy man hired me, gave me a job, and I went to work for him. Spent 5 years in his employ. And then, unfortunately, he died at age 49. But I got to spend 5 years, his last 5, and the first 5 years of my new life with this wealthy man, and sure enough, my dream came true. He coached me. He taught me. He taught me the books to read. He taught me the disciplines. He taught me the skills. He taught me the changes to make in my language and personality. And the things he shared with me during that 5 years revolutionized my life. Changed my income, changed my bank account, changed my future. Unbelievable. By the time I was 31, I was a millionaire. So he taught me economics as well. So how lucky can you get, right, at the good time in your life to meet the right person who's willing to share, especially somebody that's successful and accomplished. You know, a lot of rich people, right, aren't that interested in sharing how they do it. And some might be interested, but you don't have the capacity or the ability or the language. But I was fortunate to find somebody at a good time in my life who was willing to share and also had the ability to put it into language that I could understand. And I made those changes, and it just revolutionized my life. I wish Mr. Shope was still alive today. If he was, I'm sure I'd be calling him one more time today and thanking him for those years I got to spend and what he did for me. But anyway, how I really got here. 30-plus years ago, I was living in Beverly Hills. And a friend of mine one day said, Jim, I'd like to have you come and tell your story to my service club that I belong to. He belonged to the Rotary Club. He said, you know, we invite people to come, tell their story. He said, if I arranged one of our breakfast meetings, would you come and share your story? Idaho farm boy makes it to Beverly Hills. He said, I think they'd love to hear it. I said, okay. So he arranged this breakfast meeting, and I went and told my story. And guess what? They liked it. And my telephone rings. Another club called and said, we heard about your story. Would you come share that story with us? And I said, okay. My telephone rings. And another one says, we've heard about your story. If we arranged a luncheon meeting, would you come tell your story? And I said, okay. First thing I know, I'm starting to devote a little piece of my business time to telling my story and enjoying it very much. Then one day, a businessman who'd heard my story about 3 times said, would you come and share your story with my management and salespeople? He said, I've got this little company going. And he said, if you would, I'd be happy to pay you. And I thought, wow. Wouldn't that be something? To share my story and get paid for it? He said, I'd be happy to. So I went and talked with his management and salespeople, and I got paid. Little did I know, another fortune was waiting for me to translate my experience into talks and seminars and speeches, and now it's become a business of its own. And now this business alone takes me around the world. Last year I lectured in Japan and Israel and Spain and Germany and France and Australia and New Zealand and Mexico. Incredible. Early part of the year I was in London lecturing. Happened to be lecturing the same night that Pavarotti was appearing in London. So, big dilemma for the people in London. Shall we go see Jim Rohn, or shall we go listen to Pavarotti? Well, I must admit, he did have more people than I did. Like 150,000 more. He did a free concert in Hyde Park, and they expected 250,000, but it rained. And so only 150,000 showed up. But they did get soaked from Prince Charles on down. They sat in the rain and listened to Pavarotti. I'd have been happy to do that, right? Sit in the rain, listen to Pavarotti. Anyway, he and I have agreed now not to appear in the same city on the same day anymore. No, not really. But gosh, how exciting can it possibly be for a farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity, parents of modest means, meet the right person at the right time, willing to share, and those ideas revolutionize my life. So the purpose of my seminar today is to share some of those ideas with you. And I wanted to, first of all, just give you a little briefing about my story. My story is probably more fascinating for me than it is for you, but I wanted to hear it again, so I thought I would just, bore you with it. But anyway, I'm ready to get started now. Let's see how much I can pack into a single day. The centerpiece of all of my lecture series is a 2-day leadership weekend. And if you have a chance, we did the last one here a few months ago, and we won't have another one probably till next year, but 2 days where we have a lot more time to cover a wide variety of subjects. And we don't have time for that today, but let me see how much I can put into just a few hours. Because I want to send you away with something to ponder and think about. And I've got 2 responsibilities to fill, right? One is to make this worth your money, right? You shelled out your hard-earned cash. We want to make sure we get full value for the money we spend. So when you walk away today, I want you to be able to say, it was worth my money. But my biggest responsibility is to make it worth your time. And the reason I say that is because time is more valuable than money. In fact, you might start your notes with that today. Time is more valuable than money.